This year, Tisha B'Av falls on Motzei Shabbat on Sunday. This means that there are some special rules as we transition from Shabbat to fasting. We're going to summarize some of those laws together in this video and share a small idea about Tisha B'Av at the end. First of all, during the 9 days, these days that have led up to Tisha B'Av, the 9th of Av, from Rosh Chodesh Av. So sometimes there is a restriction on bathing. However, one may shower normally for Shabbat. Cutting nails is also permissible. And Shabbos meals on Shabbat itself are eaten as usual this week. So one should not refrain in a noticeable way from eating any dish or engaging in any regular behavior because of the upcoming morning on Tisha B'Av itself. The day of Shabbat, so to speak, suspends our sadness during this time, and we should not demonstrate these outward signs of mourning. So this would include being able to eat meat, drink wine, to sing and host guests. Obviously, COVID rules applying. Now, despite the fact that normally on the eve of Tisha B'Av, we have what is known as a Suda Hamafsekes, the meal that makes a barrier and a break between the time of eating and the time of not eating, we don't do that on Shabbat. So all Shabbat meals are eaten as normal, sitting on chairs and not on the floor. Furthermore, the ashes and hard-boiled eggs that are customarily eaten at this Suda Hamafsekes, at the meal that makes an interposition between the day before Tisha B'Av and Tisha B'Av itself, that is not eaten on Shabbat. If one is accustomed to eating Su'udah Shlishit, the third meal, in the company of others, it is permissible to do so this Shabbat as well. And if there is a zimun of 3 or 10, so it should not be omitted. Now this year, one should finish eating, drinking, washing any part of the body before the published time of the fast of Av entering, which is 9 minutes past 9 in the evening, which is just before sunset. Ideally, one should try to finish singing Shabbat songs before sunset. However, if this deviation of changing the time might be noticeable as a sign of mourning, so then the singing should go on as usual. And certainly no announcement should be made instructing people not to sing after sunset, because again, we don't have any outward displays of mourning on Shabbat itself. With respect to Torah learning, despite the fact that on Tisha B'Av we suspend the normal ability to learn Torah, and rather we only have certain things that we're able to learn, on Shabbat afternoon and after sunset, it is permissible to learn the laws that deal with the fast and Tisha B'Av. I should say that means that it's actually the other way around, that even though on Shabbat we might not prepare for another day, or we might not learn laws that might deal with something sad, or we might not try and bring on a sad environment, that doesn't extend to learning the Torah that would prepare us for Tisha B'Av. Okay, so what about the transition of wearing clothes? So we know on Tisha B'Av we don't wear Shabbat clothes necessarily, but certainly don't wear Shabbat shoes because we're not wearing leather shoes. But one should continue wearing Shabbat clothes until nightfall, until Tzeis HaKechavim. That's when Shabbos goes out, and Shabbos goes out this week at 11 minutes past 10 in London. After Shabbat goes out, one should recite Baruch HaMavdil Ben Kodesh L'chol to formally make a separation between Shabbat and a weekday, and then take off one's leather shoes and Shabbat clothing and dress appropriately for Tisha B'Av. Again, that happens after Shabbat has gone out and after we say Havdalah through Baruch HaMavdil Ben Kodesh L'chol. During Shabbat itself, one should not prepare anything, one should not have any physical preparations for the fast day. For example, Tisha B'Av shoes and Kinot books should not be carried to shul until after nightfall, until after 11 minutes past 10. Low benches should not be brought into the shul before nightfall as well. And also the curtain over the ark and the Shabbat tablecloths, etc., should not be removed until after Shabbat is over. After one said Baruch HaMavdil Ben Kodesh L'chol, a Havdalah candle should be lit, and the blessing over the candle, Boirei Ma'orei Ha'esh, should be recited. Women can also make this bracha, but are not obligated to do so. The blessing on the candle may be recited at any time during the night, but if one forgets, one should not recite it the next day, even while making Havdalah on a cup of wine after the fast. There's no blessing for spices and no smelling of the spices in Havdalah this week. And the prohibition against greeting others, saying hello, that we're not allowed to greet others on Tisha B'Av, that only begins after we say Baruch HaMavdil Ben Kodesh L'chol, after we formally bring out Shabbat. Excuse me, and also the prohibition of sitting on a chair only takes effect after we've made that declaration. After Mariv, the added Shabbat lights should be turned off. If one's driving to shul or trying to perform any other act of forbidden labor, that should not be done until after one has recited Baruch HaMavdil Ben Kodesh L'chol. Now, we've only done part of Havdalah as Shabbat has gone out. We've said Baruch HaMavdil, we've made a Boirei Ma'orei Ha'esh, we've blessed the fire. What about the rest of Havdalah over wine and the blessing of HaMavdil Ben Kodesh L'chol? We only do that on Sunday night after the fast has gone out. The custom is to skip out the first introductory passages of Hinei El Yeshua Asi. We don't do that, but we do say the rest of Havdalah. We say the Borei Pri HaGafen and the blessing HaMavdil Ben Kodesh L'chol, and we do that before we eat because Havdalah over a cup of wine permits us to eat. Now, if one is eating on Tisha B'Av itself for a particular reason, someone who's unwell, weak, pregnant, or nursing, etc., and they have a permission to not fast, so they should make Havdalah before they eat. So then they would make, they would say they wouldn't say Hinei Kel Yeshu Asi. They would not have besamim, but they would make a Borei Pri HaGafen, and they make a blessing over a cup of wine and make a blessing of HaMavdil Ben Kodesh L'chol. After midday on Tisha B'Av, halachic midday, so one may sit on a chair and begin food preparations. One may recite Tehillim all day. So as we said before, breaking the fast, and the fast ends at 3 minutes past 10 p.m., so one must hear or recite Havdalah. Now, the only exception is drinking water, which is permissible before Havdalah. Note that one may break the fast with some light food and daven Ma'ariv later. In our community, we daven Ma'ariv a bit earlier and then go home to complete the fast on time. Now, after Havdalah on Sunday night, which is the 10th of Av, one should not wash laundry, bathe, listen or play music. One should also refrain from eating meat and drinking wine, other than for Havdalah itself, until Chatzot, until midday on Monday. I just want to share a brief thought with you at the conclusion of this video, which is my rabbi always says that the tragedy of Tisha B'Av is not only the historical tragedies that we commemorate at that time, but also the current tragedy that so many Jews aren't aware of that loss, that so many Jews are not sitting, mourning, thinking about what's happened to the Jewish people because they don't identify with the Jewish people anymore. The tragedy of Tisha B'Av is that we're still losing so many, not necessarily at the hands of physical oppressors, but certainly at the hands of spiritual oppressors, that in their droves, we are losing our people. That is certainly something that we can all cry about. I wish you well over the fast. May it be a fast that we will never see again. May we see a speedy return to our home, a recognition of all our nation, of all the world, of God's sovereignty, of the light that we share on his behalf. And may that light shine up the darkness, light up the darkness, and bring us all to a better